it's just more and more. Like every episode, it's like you took that. Now let's see if you can take this. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like the Usher meme. Like every time we think Mitch like has got to his peak dickness, he's just like, watch this. Watch this. Like, it's just like, watch this.
Hey, my loves, welcome back to our channel. Thank you so much for joining us again. I'm Intisar, but you can call me Zar, and I am here with my beautiful husband, Joseph.
We on the road. Clearly, I'm not at home, so it's a bunch of Star Wars shit behind me or whatever that is.
I kind of love it.
Yeah. So,
where are you at tonight?
Janesville, Wisconsin.
So we are here to talk all things Married at First Sight. Joe's on tour with his band. Otherwise, you can follow them at We Are Otherwise. We'll make sure that Joe leaves his tour dates down somewhere so you guys can see where he's going, and maybe you can join him on the road and come out and see him. That would really be great. So we're back and we're talking all things Married at First Sight. Ben and Morgan finally actually got married. They moved on to being on the actual trip. And Morgan is just not making a case for her. Morgan. I had something so smart to say that we would get canceled. And I said the other day, I have so much to say about Morgan and Ben, but I already got a gap tooth. So I don't need a bitch kicking me in my teeth and chipping my teeth. I don't need it. You know what I mean? And I feel like the way she threatens her husband, she would for damn sure kick me in my teeth.
It's just, I'm just a little exhausted with the whole, like, I'm a Tybo champion, storyline for Morgan. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just over that part. You know how we talk about how everybody got storylines and stuff. Every season, it's like, this is your storyline. And it's clear that her being this tough guy, Macho Morgan is what I'm calling her now.
Macho Morgan is good. I'm tired of the bro-ness of it all.
Yeah, like
it's like you don't have any
finesse,
feminine qualities. Like I'm like her nails are done, but even that look weird to me. Like it looks like, and I know that sounds bad because that doesn't define a woman. Like I want to be clear, and that doesn't define femininity. But I do feel like she's trying to be something that I don't necessarily think she is, and that could be either she's trying to be this bro, or she's
I think she is.
You know what I mean? It could be either one. Because for me, the whole thing, like, oh, I don't drink wine, I drink beer. Which there is a population of women who prefer beer. But even the way she said it was
it's always a thing to her, like, I'm tough. Like, I feel like everything is like it's not, we talked about this a while ago. Like, I just like the genuine person. Like, I have a lot of weird, quirky friends who have a lot of, you know what I mean? And we don't have no problem with them because they are genuinely them. And it would only be weird and annoying if it felt forced. And Morgan just feels real forced all the time. Like even the beer thing was just like, I'm a man's girl. I drink beer, only beer. Like we didn't like, okay, sis. Like tell somebody.
It was so weird to me because anybody challenging this. Like I don't really understand where we're going here. And I want to enjoy her and I want to be into her, but it is something about her that I just is disconnecting. Yeah. Not only that, they meet each other's parents, obviously, right? And the mother asked Morgan, do you want to have kids? Do you see yourself having kids in the future? And not every woman wants to have children. And Ben asked the friend, if that's something that Morgan is thinking about children. And she was like, honestly, she said she was okay with not having kids unless she was with somebody who wants them. And I immediately thought, figures. Like it
Yeah,
doesn't feel like it feels like, of course,
you knew it. It was because she's gonna play in
of
her
course.
her role, and that was just
Like,
her playing it up.
girl, please. Like, I'm just like bored.
Yeah.
Bored, 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 bored. I'm
But
bored.
Ben is but Ben is surprising me. Ben is taking it with stride. I mean, he's like just smiling and nodding the whole time. You know what I mean? So
He sure is, but he don't have no other choice. He might get kicked in the teeth. The fact that at the wedding she pointed out the girl whose teeth she kicked in, me and her could never be the fuck friends.
yeah, that was
You
weird.
can, if you me and you fighting so hard, you chip my tooth, and then you would have the nerve to tell the story to a bunch of people. Bitch, we fighting on site every time I see you. I might get my
Yeah,
ass kicked apparently, but I still would have to do it out of pride. Like,
yeah,
why are you even telling this story? You should be embarrassed that you even did that to your friend.
yeah.
Is it
It
me?
was weird. Nah, it was weird. But that was another. It's in line with her. With the brand that she's trying to put on because that was just a an excuse to talk about how tough she is. So that's just inconsistent with what she's been doing.
Very consistent. But let's move on and talk about we're gonna hit you with a quick one this time around, y'all. Because I'm
Where's
over
that?
Morgan and Ben. I really have nothing else to say about them, to be quite honest.
Yeah, yeah. And Zara got a flight to
And
catch.
I don't want her to be kick me in the teeth. Okay.
That part.
I got fears. So let's talk about Lindy and Miguel. They are making me feel uncomfortable, and
So uncomfortable.
I feel like, and I don't know if Lindy feels this way, but watching it, Miguel is giving creep.
Yeah, Miguel gives a lot of different vibes to me. Like he gives dick, he gives
Mm,
creep, he gives a cold. Um
yeah.
he's like it's just like depending on what scene it is, like he's this different type of thing that's kind of unsettling and kind of hard to watch because Lindy is so the opposite. Lindy is a lot more emotionally mature than she gives off.
Very
When
much
you
so.
yeah, when
I
you
agree
meet
with that
her because
completely.
when you meet her because you think, Zar mentioned something to me the other day. We was just talking about some work stuff, and she said something like they say that women should speak in a deeper tone for people to like listen to them more or take them more seriously. And I feel like with Lindy, it's like a thing that she might need to do because she comes off as very like airheaded, like you know what I mean?
But she's
But
not.
she's not at all. And when she's talking to him, or really when she's talking to us in her private, confessionals,
Hmm.
she's making a lot of sense when she's talking about, Miguel and their situation. And it's just making me side eye Miguel, like, man, you got a situation here that you should really like see through and just at least give her some better vibes. I'm just not getting good vibes from him whenever they're together. And it's awkward because I feel like she's very positive. She's a very positive person. So it's kind of hard to watch that clash.
It's that, and I just don't like how he just met her and he's putting so much pressure on sex. Like,
Yeah,
I
it's a
feel
lot.
like that to me, it bothers me a bit. It just does. And I think
Yeah.
that she's entitled. She made it very clear. And this is, I know last week I was like, it's obvious meant to be fucking this. I know I said all that last week, but I do feel like that he is pressuring her, but she spoke about being engaged before and losing her virginity to that person. And I hate to even like talk about her virginity, but this is just for context. And that was at 23. It's since been, I think, 6 years since
Mhm.
then. So she's probably have had more experiences, but let's say she hasn't. You talking about this with her, it's almost like you're putting pressure on her to make certain decisions. And I'm very proud of her for like, no, we're going to take our time. I want to get to know you. I don't want to get caught up in all that. And I think that out of all, out of, not even out of all the men, they all are suffering. But out of most of these men, they are suffering. Out of most of these men, he for sure needs to be kind of like slowed down. Like slow down. He even talking about it with everybody. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, I think the whole thing with him constantly mentioning it to people is a little bit weird, especially because it's very clear that like he's really not that into her. So it's just like it can't be bothering you that much. You know what I
I
mean?
don't think he's not into her. I think that he's atypical. I think that he mentioned his mom having schizophrenia, moving to Puerto Rico, feeling out of his comfort zone, having identity issues, and I think he's suffering from that in his adult life. I think he likes her. I think that he has a big sense of self. I think that comes from his sister and everything like that. And I don't think he knows how to show it. Like we're talking about somebody who's had several relationships and don't think he did anything wrong in any of them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So you've got to be a little less self-aware. So I think he does like her. I don't even think he knows what liking a woman looks like because I think he on the spectrum in all ways.
Yeah, because
In all
I mean,
ways.
if he does like her, she can't tell, and neither can I. Like, it's very evident that she's uncomfortable. Like, when you watch her, like, you could tell that like she's a little bit uncomfortable, and she's not the she doesn't come across as the type who's socially awkward. You know what I mean? She kind of comes across as like a social butterfly. So when she's around him, and it's just weird, awkward in a situation, I'm like, it's him.
I don't think that she is. I think that she is trying to mitigate him touching all on her. That's why she looks awkward. I think
It
she
feels
wants to
like
have a deeper
it
connection.
feels like his shots only happen in private. Because when they're in public, he doesn't look like it. Doesn't seem like to me like when they're on camera or they're around around the other couples that he's even like trying to be close to her.
He was all rubbing on her, giving her a massage, and he offered
Well,
it.
that was yeah, because that was the
But
massage
that's my
session.
point.
That was the
That's my
massage
point.
session, but I don't see them touch. I don't ever. That was the first time I ever seen them actually touch like on camera.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I just am not. I just want them to be great. And I think that he's kind of going through some things and she as well, being Seventh day Adventist. And I think it's hard for both of them. I think we're talking about people who are atypical. Like, I don't think that they are neurotypical. I think that they both, in some way, somehow, are on the socially awkward spectrum. And I think
Yeah.
we're watching that play out. You know what I mean? Because they even force conversation, but I think it's because they don't know what to do with their hands. So I want to see them kind of like open up over time. You know what I mean? Give them the opportunity to like see how it kind of like flushes out.
Yeah, I think that
But
I
he got
think
to
that
cut the sex shit out.
yeah, because I think that that's making it awkward for her and everybody else involved, especially when
Yeah,
we're
like
talking
stop
about
me
it.
tooing her, and maybe
Yeah,
she'll like if you give. And it's funny because I do think that most women go through this. Like, I mean, most like you with a man, you want to get to know him, and he might be putting on the moves a little bit too soon. And I think she's right. Like, I'm gonna give you a little. We could be even when he said like we kind of feel some shit. He said like we are
he
kind
said
of
my
physical.
needs are being met. I remember tweeting about that. Like, what do that mean? Oh, my needs are being met in other ways. I'm like, so are you trying to tell us that she head bobbing or something? What are you saying? And even if that is, why would you even put her situation out
She's
there like
not.
that?
She's
I
not.
don't know what that meant. Like, you know what I mean? What does that mean? You know what I mean?
But
But
why are you so open to speaking about it?
especially with a person who y'all don't even got. It's not like y'all are Nate and Stasha. Like y'all not even good like that for real, for real. It doesn't matter what is going on. Like we at the end of the day, it's very clear that y'all not on the up and up like that. Y'all still y'all just mad. Y'all navigating this space, so we get it. But at the same time, it's like for you to be so like gung ho about this situation when y'all really don't even have chemistry for real, for real. It's weird to me.
Very weird. So talking about Nate and Stasha, since you brought them up, they went what are they called? The ATVs or whatever the
Yeah,
case may
for
be.
willing, yeah.
Yeah, which is I mean, I love that they did it, like let's be clear, but why don't those kind of activities they do nothing for me?
Well, you're not necessarily an adventure, seeker.
I think as a young woman I really was, but the older I get and the more I work, the more I value doing absolutely nothing. The more I value going to resorts, getting absolutely positively wasted and being in the pool for like 36 hours a day. Like, I
Yeah.
value that because I work so much, you know what I mean? And I'm constantly doing, and so when I see this, I love that people have adventures, but the whole time I'm thinking, okay, this ain't even something that to me, you do together. Like, it's not a
Yeah, yeah,
together,
yeah.
it's to me, it's not a together activity. You know what is
Yeah,
the
couples do that.
slingshots? I know they do, but the slingshot things where you can sit in the car with them or whatever they call.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That to me is more like if we getting to know each other, like that's something I would want to do more
Yeah,
because
well,
it was. Go ahead.
well, to your point, and I think we talked about this a little while ago. It's certain things that are a better that are better geared towards getting to know the person that you're with, right? Like going ATV and four wheeling is not necessarily going to get you closer to the person that you're with. You know what I mean? It's the same thing like on a first date. Should you really take your date to the movies? You're not going to be speaking to each other for maybe 2 hours.
Right,
You know what I
right,
mean?
right,
So you want to do things
right.
that 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 get the conversation going, get information flowing and stuff like that. So I'm with you on that as far as like there are certain activities that I feel like this is an expert thing too. Y'all should interject and be like, for your first activity, let's have you guys do this. Let's have you guys do that to gear the to push them into getting to know each other better.
That's kind of how I feel, and I get that it was something that neither one of them had done, so they created like a memory in that way. But I do feel like, mm,
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I just feel like there's not enough events and activities where they can get to know each other.
okay, okay, we could do that. We can go that route. But either way, I mean, I'm glad that they went, even though Sasha. Nate left Sasha in the dust. He was taking pictures for the gram. He was
Yeah,
like, "Oh,
he
I got to get
did.
the lighting right." Like he was
Yeah,
like not even paying her no mind. And poor baby was like, "What about me?
yeah,
Like, how do
quite literally.
I do this and how do I do that?" I felt so bad for her.
Yeah, yeah,
But that's
but
another
yeah, go ahead.
what? No, I was just gonna
That's
say
another
that's
reason
another
why.
reason why. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not a good activity.
Yeah, yeah, I get that.
But I don't know. I enjoyed watching them. It came up that it's very clear that they're attracted to one another, which I love. So
Yeah,
I'm excited about how this flourishes. And it was Stasha's mom brought up the fact that Nate had a bankruptcy and had gone through some financial strife. And she said something about a post nut, which to me, at first I felt like Nate was going to like push back, but then he was like, whatever make you comfortable, whatever the case may be. I thought I was proud of her. Like I felt like you got to protect yourself. And the more I think about it, it's just so important. Like, you know what I mean? Like if she has assets and everything like that, and we don't know how this is going to work out, she has to protect herself.
we bearing the lead. My
What's the
first
lead?
issue is one, don't call me on my honeymoon. That's number one. Like,
I
dude,
know.
don't do it. And then number two, don't call me on my honeymoon saying some negative stuff from the other end of the phone about my spouse. Like
That
that,
was
you could have
weird.
saved that for the crib. Like when I got back, let's talk. How is it happening? How do you feel about this or whatever? But for you to throw that on me, like you trying to mess up the vibe, like that's weird to me. You know what I'm saying? And I had a big problem with that. Like y'all need to be checking some of y'all parents out here because it's not enough of that going on. Because you can't teach an old dog new tricks and you move on and you get in these relationships or whatever and they want to still do the same controlling stuff that they want to do and they still want to interject themselves into whatever it is that you got going on in your life. You need to protect the sanctity of your home and your marriage first, because I'd have had to been like, don't call me with this right now. I'm not going to do this on my honeymoon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
But
just
I
a
think
time and a place. You know what I mean? It's a time and a place for everything. So to me, it wasn't the time for her to call, and it wasn't the time for Stasha to bring it up to him on the honeymoon.
okay, but I think that, she has to get these feelings out there if she was thinking about it. And, it's clear that she suffered from a bit of financial trauma. And I get it. Like, you have to have these conversations and you have to have them like just front and right out there. And who cares where you're at? You know what I mean? Because
No, it
if the
matters where
money
you
is
are.
funny, nobody, it doesn't matter if the money is funny.
It does, because you are on your honeymoon, so you can
I
get
just,
home. There, like, you know what I mean. Like it's a time and a place for everything. You know what I mean. Like when you sitting out at a double date with some couples at a table and Mastros, that's not the time to have a discussion about what we gonna do about X, Y, and Z and my concerns. This is what my mama told you did. You know what I mean? Like it's a time for everything, because that could have went Ray left. You know what I mean?
yeah, true. True, and I do see that it could have went left, but I also, You gotta have these conversations and you gotta know, but maybe it wasn't. But it's hard. Like I think it's hard when you feel like you in a certain place, in a different place than the person that you're with. It's hard for you to be like, I'm not thinking about it. You know what I mean? And maybe that's what she was going through.
I don't think she was thinking about it. I think her mother called her and said something
Well,
to
that's
her
true
that was
too.
alarming. That's what I mean. You know what I mean? Like it
That's
just
true
was the.
too.
I think she was completely there and present in her honeymoon until she got a call about her dude going having bankruptcy.
So she talks about her relationship with her father being lack thereof, or her absentee father, and how she already said that changing her name was something that she was going to do, and that even if they didn't work out, she was going to keep his last name. And I actually really appreciated that. It's like the more she speaks, the more I really like this girl. Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, I want to hear her thoughts, and I want to know more about her. Is what I'm saying. Like, I just want to know more about her. And I thought that thing about the dad and feeling absentee, like I get that. Like, she don't have any ties to her identity in her name, so she's just like, why would I not change my name? But I also get people who don't want to. It's a
yeah.
process.
I thought that that was very open and transparent of her to really give a window into her thought process on that whole thing. And even it was big for her to just say like, I don't really have a connection to my dad or my name, and so regardless of what happened, like I'm gonna just rock out. um I thought that was like, I thought that was big of her to even put out there on national television. So
I thought it was too, but Alexis didn't. Because here go Alexis, another one who honestly I think is on the social spectrum. Something ain't all the way like clicking with Alexis. Like, I feel like she does and says things that doesn't, like, she's not reading the room. Like, if somebody shares something like that, it's not your opportunity to say, I don't like my dad. You know your dad. What we're talking about is somebody who does not even know their father. You know your dad. You've had a relationship with your father. Whether you like him or not is a completely different story. And that's not something that I think in this moment should be shared after this young woman was so vulnerable.
yeah, because then the way she even jumped in on the subject was weird when she said, "Well, I know my dad," and it was
It
like,
was so weird.
it
Like,
was
are you
weird,
kidding?
but she is kind of like, she doesn't really, like you said, she doesn't really read the room well, and she just kind of like just blurts out the first thing that comes to her mind, which is a gift and a curse, man.
It's not even a problem. No, it's a curse. It's a curse. Like, you know what I mean? Think 5 times before you speak. Like, I'm not saying that you could be in
Yeah,
a space.
I meant the honesty part can be endearing, but you can be overly honest, like to a fault. Like we talked about, I think we even talked about it last
Yeah, like
episode.
being brutally honest. Like,
Yeah,
being
being
brutal
brutally
is
honest.
not
Yeah,
okay. You know what I
right.
mean? No matter what is the caveat, honesty could be like, no matter what the carrier is, being brutal is never okay. And I feel like I'm attributing it to her lack of self awareness. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? But the reality is it just wasn't the time. And I just
yeah,
couldn't believe she couldn't gauge that in the moment. It was it was fascinating. But then even everybody else felt it too. Like, what are you doing right now? Like, this girl's crying.
yeah. And then she knew the minute she said it. She said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that." Like the minute it fell out of her mouth, she said that, and it's just kind of, it's been her thing, you know what I mean? And talking about her being brutally honest, people were on Twitter reacting to it, and it was like kind of split. Like some people were like, "Oh, I'm just, I'm proud of her for being honest." This is when she was talking to. We'll get into it. This is when she was talking to Justin, but she was doing the same thing, and then some people was like, "Yo, like your mouth, it's crazy."
I think that she has been around men so often and has used it as like a badge of honor that she's picked up some of the terrible traits of men. I think that to sit in the room, because she almost gives like this to me, she's so feminine, but so like that broy, like fuck boy energy is all over her. And it's like I don't know why she acts like this. And I attribute it maybe to the fact that maybe she was hurt or she's going through certain things or whatever the case may be. It's very clear. But I also feel like not that she got to show up and be like in her divine femininity, but it's just like just shut the fuck up. Everything don't
Yeah,
require a response. I mean,
cause
everything does not require a response. Shut
yeah,
up.
yeah, she don't. She doesn't. For me, I don't get bro from her. I get the opposite. Like I get like overly flirty. Like I feel like the way she be flirting with Justin, she would be in anybody's face. Like
But that's what I
at
mean,
all
that
time.
fuckboy
You know
energy.
what I
Like
mean?
that's
Like
what I'm saying. Like
yeah, I
that's
just feel like
exactly what I mean.
she is like that kind of pick me girl. Like I need all the attention type girl. I'm a flirt with everybody in the room type girl. Like that's the type of vibe I get from her.
1,000%. And it's like a part of that I don't mind because it's like, girl, do your thing. But the other part of it is like really clear to me that she let's move let's talk about them then. Let's just talk about them. Justin and Alexis make me so uncomfortable. I have
Yeah,
not, and I mean uncomfortable, not in like a Me Too kind of way. I mean like in like cringe.
yeah,
Like I want to think that they got chemistry, but a part of me feels like she's an actress and a damn good
yeah.
one. Let me
Part of
be
me feel like
clear.
she's for everybody. So the little
Ooh,
times
don't say
that you would
that. I
think
don't like that.
the little times that you feel like, oh, it might be something near, I just feel like she does that with every guy she dates. You know what I'm saying? And we all know this person. Like we've all met that girl or that guy who was like dating every
Which
like
I'm
who,
not
you know
mad
what I
at
mean?
that
You know what I
because
mean?
I get it. Love all your hoes the same. I get it. Okay. But the other part of me is like, what is this about? I'm just like, I
Yeah,
don't
it's
I
about
want to get her, but she gives, she says honest things, but it comes off disingenuous. Like because I can't read it, it feels fake to me.
I think it just feels socially inept to me. You know what I mean? Like you did
That.
I think that's what it because I believe that this is what she be like. It doesn't I don't get the disingenuous part. I just get like, girl, you need some tact. Like, you know what I
When I
mean?
say disingenuous, I don't believe for a second that she liked this man.
Oh, I
I
don't
gotta say,
either.
that's what I mean by disingenuous. So she'll sit up in his face and say and do certain things that I'm like, girl, you don't even like him. Like, you know
Yeah,
what I
that's
mean?
what I
This
mean.
the
I feel like she
same
does that
man
to
you
everybody.
see was annoying, and that's why you ain't want to move forward with him. Which she could have changed her mind about that. Like, don't get me wrong, but it's still. Let me say this: in the time that they spent together, all he has done to me is affirm that he's annoying in real life.
Yeah. But
Imagine being with somebody for 96 hours. Okay. At best, y'all been together 4 days, 5 days. It told us, but
yeah.
I forget. And you tell them you love them.
And
Like
yeah.
I'm in love with you. Now I believe in
I'm
telling
in
people I
love with
love
you.
them because sometimes I really do believe in telling people that I love them because I feel like sometimes you meet people and you vibe and you just love the energy. And I think that they should know that. Like I love being around you. Like I love hanging
Yeah,
out
but
with
that
you.
ain't what he
I'm
said.
excited to get to know you. He said I'm in love with you. And I'm thinking, this what the fuck she talking about? You're a
Yeah.
weirdo. Like
And
my
this is
thing
why
is
you here, low key. Because
high
you don't
key.
know how to hit the brakes.
And it's giving to me emotionally manipulative. And this is why they're giving uncomfortable. Why she keep on me? This is why it's uncomfortable for me because it's giving emotionally manipulative. I feel like, oh, the tears, the crying, the tear. Oh, I love you. I'm in love with you. I could just see. I don't like when people lay it on thick. I think that, like, I like when, first of all, I love when a man is very clear. Like, you know what I mean? Like, real clear.
This
Like,
don't
I
feel like
want
that though.
you, but this don't feel like that.
No, this
It
feels
doesn't feel
green.
like that.
This feels very green to me. It feels very it feels childish almost. You know what I mean?
And that's
And
why your brother was saying the shit that he was saying. It all
yeah,
makes sense to me now.
yeah, it does. It does.
This is
Yep.
why your brother was like, this is fucking crazy. You're not even
Yeah.
built for this.
Yeah. Cause I think he might have been thinking like, yo, you rush into everything. You're rushing. You just found an official way to rush into this. And I'm concerned about you because you go in with your heart in your hand, and you could be doing too much, and it's playing out on screen.
It is absolutely positively playing out on screen. It's making me hella uncomfortable. I can't imagine. First of all, Alexa's just living her life, telling all this man business to anybody who listen. You know he's
But
celibate.
why do we keep doing this? Like every time you meet somebody, you got to put your man's situation out there. That is weird. But
It's not.
that's what I'm
It's
saying. That's the
indicative of where
Alexis.
she is.
That's what I mean. That's the Alexa that it was just like when I seen her actions playing out on camera, I'm like, oh, we know this person. Like you in everybody's face, you gonna have some. You can't tell that person anything because when they around somebody else, they gonna be
Oh
kicking
my
in their
god!
face. You know what I mean? And telling your business. Like that's what I mean. She, whether it's a girl or a guy or an animal, Alexis is gonna kiki in their face. She's gonna be the what we talked about, the people pleaser. Like she's that type
Yes,
of person, you know what I mean? Socially, you know what I mean? And so I feel like, damn, ain't nothing safe with her.
it's very weird to me. It is very, and I want to say, like, I hate to say, like, people are weirdos. We in a world full of weirdos. Like, we're
Yeah,
weirdos too,
everybody
like, to
got their
somebody.
quirks, you know? Yeah.
Right. It's so clear to me. I get why a lot of y'all not in relationships. Like, I get it. Like, you know what I mean? Because y'all don't be all the way there. And then I will argue that the men that who were proposing to you wasn't either. Just based on how you showing up on this show. They couldn't have been with all their mind.
It seems to me that neither one of them were really ready for this process. Or really forget the process or to be married.
The problem is I want to give them room, right? Obviously, we want to give them room. It's like episode 5 or some shit.
Yeah.
But it's like at the same time, and this is like my episode 4 feelings. It might change in episode 6. But I feel or whatever. But I feel like they doing it for the gram.
Yeah.
You ever like people on the gram give you like their best life, right? Like all the
Yeah.
pretty things and everything like that. Like they just had a story where the woman was standing in front of like a G Wagon or some shit like that, taking pictures
Yeah.
in front of G Wagon. Come to find out it wasn't her G
Of
Wagon, right?
course.
She
Of
never
course.
bought it, nothing. That's what
Which
they giving.
yeah, which it's a
Oh,
lot of
we're
people
so
out here
in
doing that.
love. Everything. It just was too much and it
Yeah,
turned my
it's so
stomach.
we so perfect.
Turned it.
I feel like which if I have to hear this one more time from another person, I feel like they just gave me the female version of me. I feel like they gave me the male version of me. Like, yo, grow up. Y'all have to understand.
Y'all have to understand.
Y'all
I
have to
like me,
understand.
but
Like,
I wouldn't want to be with me all
yeah,
day
I
long.
don't I don't want
I
to
am
date.
me,
I
and
don't want
I'm
to date
okay.
me.
Like,
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to date me, and I
I
don't want to
wouldn't
be
want to date
married to
me.
me. Like, and
Like, are you
the
kidding?
fact that that's what y'all looking for, if that is
Is the
what you're
problem.
looking for, that's a big problem. I'm just looking for
That's the
me.
problem.
Like, what?
It's just so odd. The guys go around each other, the ladies come around each other, they start talking, but the guys go around each other and they start talking as well. And the moment the I y'all everybody knows that I'm not like really a fan of men, but it just solidified for me that just watching men be men for 15 seconds turned my stomach. I was just like, all of you are terrible people. Shut the fuck up.
Wait,
Like
what
literally.
happened? What you gotta explain?
So on the boat, they were talking about Justin tells everybody, like, yeah, I told her I love her. I don't care. I'm in love. And everybody like, first of all, that had to be the moment where everybody be like, this man is really
This
freaking
mother
weird.
is crazy. Yeah, they like, oh, okay.
Simultaneously, Miguel's talking about how he's me tooing his new wife that he doesn't know.
Yeah,
Which to me is like the only one to me who had like even a little bit of sense, even I mean this much, was Ben and Nate. These other
yeah,
three guys are just like carrying us into a world of weird, and I don't understand it. And that's for lack of a better word. I know there's a better word out there, but
yeah.
it's just like even Mitch, and we going to get to Mr. Mitch. It's like I'm just sitting there and I'm thinking, like, I just really have a hard time listening to men. Is this how lesbians feel? Is anybody out there watching us a lesbian? I really think I identify as a lesbian. I'm just married to a man. Because I'm just like,
Yeah.
talking to other men quite literally turns my stomach. It's like, I don't know why. It's like, I don't get it. I do not get it. Or even watching them speak. It's just like, oh, please stop. I don't know. I don't know. I just felt like I just hope I just love Ben and I just want him to talk more. More Ben,
Ben
less
don't have
of
Ben
other
don't have
ones.
nothing to talk about.
Yet.
Yeah,
Yet.
he don't have nothing to talk
It's
about.
still a bit early for them. So let's talk about Mitch. Round this out with Mitch and Kristen. Wait, I need to go back. But why did Justin ask her, are you scared? Are you scared because I said I love you?
Because he's used to scaring women
Yes.
off. He's used to
Yes.
scaring women off. So I think that's exactly why. Because he's done this before. You can't get me to believe that this is the first time that he's done anything like this. I wouldn't believe
The issue I have with this behavior is that narcissists love bomb. And I don't want to go so far as to say this man is a narcissist. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that the behavior he's exuding is giving narcissism. They love bomb. They do all the things that they think that you want
it. Hmm.
to make sure that they're mirroring these behaviors for you so that you could fall madly in love with them and then they flip on your motherfucking ass. And it's just like for me, and not to say that I think he's that maniacal. I really don't. It just doesn't feel organic. And I hate that word. You know how much I hate when people like, I just want to be organic. But this is what they mean. This is what they mean. They mean
Yes,
like it shouldn't feel
you're
forced.
forcing it. Yeah, that's all that organic only means. Don't force it. Don't meet me at 8 o'clock and then at 10:30 tell me you're in love with me. That's at least when I say organic, that's what the hell I'm talking about. I'm talking about Justin. That is crazy.
This is my thing. And I'm sure Alexis feels the same because I kind of get her. There's no doubt that you're in love with me after meeting me. I just don't want to know. Like,
No,
I know. I'm like, I know she feels and I know she has an effect on men. It's very clear. So for me, part of me
I
feels
don't know
like
that she
I
has
get
an
it.
effect on men. I just think she flirts a lot, and for some reason, everybody who's flirty like that thinks that they do that. This effect that you're having is just falling on everybody. You sprinkling pinkle dust on everybody just because you're smiling in their face, and that's just not necessarily true.
Yeah, but some people got powers and you got to use your powers for good or evil. And I feel like she may be one of those young women who has no problem attracting people to her. And because of that, it might not be the person that she wants, but I don't think she has any issue attracting people.
I don't think she is. I don't think that she does either. But that's not. I mean, to me, that's not like some type of power that you have. There's a lot of cute Jones out in the world. Like you know what I mean. Like
No,
you,
being cute and actually attracting people to you is two. We're not talking about the same things. What I'm saying is sometimes you can meet a person and be enveloped by them. You can be like literally drowned in their essence. I think she has
Alexis
that.
doesn't give that to me. She doesn't. She
Okay.
gives me. She gives me cute. That's it. I know exactly what you're talking about, but Alexis don't give that to me. I don't see it. I
What
don't
I
even see
so
it from Justin's POV. I think Justin just is googly
oh,
eyed, and
he's forcing it. Let's be clear.
yeah.
He's
But I
forcing
also think he's googly eyed, like to the point, just the way that Alexis, anybody she meets, she in their face like that. I feel like Justin is just as like googly eyed at anybody who he meets, and I feel like that's why they're here at this point in life.
Are you scared? And then gonna tell her, I think you in love with me too.
This
It's
is the same
just
guy. This is the same guy who say all women look at him like he's meat. So he believes that she loves him. He definitely believes that.
I don't even want to revisit that he says so many things
Yeah.
that so you know the part where that they keep playing over again where he's like, "Oh, I woke up in the morning and my it's not that, my thing was hard as thing."
Uh,
Every time they play it, I'm literally in the house like I can't hear it.
la
It's
la la la
terrible
la.
to me. Yes, literally. No, like literally. It's just terrible to me. And but I think those types of interactions is what's going to turn Alexis off. Period. I think
Oh,
she likes being the center of attention, but I don't think she likes it like that. Like from
yep.
that POV.
Yeah, I don't think she does either. I don't think she also likes being in a serious conversation, I think it really like gets under her skin. I think
Well, that's
everything
because
is
she's emotionally
every
immature.
yes, everything is surface for her. So
Yes.
even when he's having legitimate
But
conversation with
also
her,
she's a fuck boy.
it's even when he's having legitimate conversation with her, you could tell it makes her comfortable. When he's not like like doing a lot, when he's just talking about we're married now, so I want you to whoopty whoopty whoop, like just having like mature conversation. You could tell that she's just like, okay, let's go back to talking about nothing.
Let's end with Mitch and Kristen. Oh, this was a shit show if I've ever seen one. Let me tell you something.
It always
Mitch is
is
the
with
most.
Mitch.
I talk about self-centered. The way he was talking about what works for him, like this works for me, and I'm happy that you did that for me. And for me, I like to go swimming with the dolphins, and for me, I need to make sure that nobody's drinking out of plastic straws. And for me, and it's just like I'm like, bro, you're talking to a whole nother person that's in this relationship. Shut the fuck up. Like he just
Yeah.
is so not even. I don't want to say STFU. What I'm saying is his lack of self-awareness. That's the headline today is astounding. But but you know what else is astounding? Kristen's ability to twist reality is astounding to
Now,
me.
what are you referencing when you say? Because I have a couple ideas, but I want to see what you.
Okay, so one of my ideas is she talks about how they laugh and joke and have all this great conversation. I've never seen them laugh together.
Me neither. Me neither.
Oh my God, we had so much fun doing the paddle boys. Even though he said this is a me activity, I love it because it's for me and the ocean is for me and the paddle boards are for me and the paddle sticks are for me and it's me, 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 me.
Yeah,
Even though he
yeah,
did all that, she said, "Oh my God, we had the greatest time and we laughed and we joked and I just love our conversation. Y'all don't talk about nothing. We're
yeah,
watching you." This should be more Big Brother style, bro.
yeah.
Because for
It should,
me,
for
like I
real.
need 24
Honestly,
hour around the clock
yeah.
because I don't
Because
believe it.
people be fronting. People be fronting, and then it's always we get it every season where it's the salacious moment where people come on camera and they go, "Well, last night when production left," and I'm like, "Did you
They
tape
love
it?"
to tell us what happened when production
They
wasn't there.
love to tell us what happened.
Love
We
to
had
do it.
that. What we had that at least twice in this episode right here. We had Mitch doing his his thing when production left, and then also Miguel.
I can't. I cannot. So then Mitch goes on to tell her another way that she twists reality. He tells her straight. First of all, let me go back. Let me go back. Mitch calls whomever he calls. I think it's his brother.
Yeah,
And quite literally, in an emotional state, gets on the phone call almost to tears to tell this man just how he's not attracted to her. And you know what it made me think? White women is damn bad because we are literally looking at the shift from the love of white women to the love of other women. Because her mother doesn't resemble
at all,
you understand what are
at
you picking up
all.
what I'm putting down?
Yeah, she doesn't at all.
When you see her mother looks a little bit more something.
Ethnic.
Yes. She dipping and doing up in here, okay? And Kristen, not so much. Kristen is
Yeah,
giving daddy. Y'all saw the dad? She's giving daddy.
yeah,
And for me, what was very clear is that white women is damn bad. It was a time when white women was just white women in. And now white women in ain't enough.
yeah,
At least not for Mitch Ballhead ass. He's in San Diego. I think San Diego is like almost mostly Latino. You know what I mean? So he might get a different view of women. And I don't know that she fit in the aesthetic because I think it's more of a I think white women is damn bad. And let me tell y'all, as a soul sister, as an ally white woman, y'all gotta really take back your power. Okay. Don't let
yeah.
these white men dog y'all out. Do not let them do it. Do not let them do it. Take back your power, okay? Because it's very clear. She could go get her a black man now. because black men love basic white women. So it's like,
But the thing about Kristen, and this why I feel bad for Kristen, because I believe that Kristen, had she been paired with a normal, capable person, I think she would be a good spouse for somebody.
it's
I
not up for
don't think.
debate.
I think she's a cute enough woman. I think she is socially, intelligent. She seems like she's mature. Mature. She seems like she's here for the process. And so when I watch, although she has her little quirks and everything like that, I be thinking I'm watching thinking like I wish I could see her with somebody else, like what you call him
Yeah,
from
so he,
last season,
I
like Chris from last season,
yeah,
and because I think that it would have brought out a better Kristen, and we would have
I
got to
agree.
see somebody who was more deserving of being on the show than Mitch. Because somebody asked on Twitter, why would they pair Mitch with anybody? And I say it had to be
With
for ratings.
anybody.
It had to be for ratings. Because there's
He
no way,
obviously suffers from narcissism.
and a lot of other
I
things.
mean, obviously. And we also was very clear. We have to get away from these people who care about the environment but not human beings.
Yeah,
I'm
because
so
that's
tired. It is not a redeeming quality. It
at
just
all.
makes you look worse. You know what I mean? And I feel like, but on the other hand, he sits on a phone call. He almost is to tears to tell this man that, he ain't attracted. And the guy's like, nobody said that you had to go into it being attracted. And like, obviously, that's a part of this, right?
Yeah,
There is a chance you won't be attracted. The reality is the percentage of good looking people in the world.
it's small. I always say that. It's small. It's
So
it's
come
small
on.
to the point where anytime, like this is it's funny because Zar was telling me this story the other day, and she was saying like she was in a meeting and at work, and she had to turn her camera on, and when she turned her camera on, the lady at the job, this wasn't even a dude, the lady at the job was like, oh, you're pretty, right? I think that
She
that
actually told
is
me like, you are so beautiful. I said,
and
thank you, girl.
and I and
That's
I
what she
think
said.
and I think that the majority of human beings operate from that mindset of I'm expecting this person to not be pretty.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when you go into, we've all done it. When you walk into the CVS and you're like, oh, just like you just
Yeah.
don't expect, like I walk around the earth and I just don't expect to see like a bunch of beautiful people. So when you're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, she's cute, like, you know what I mean? So I think that's a real thing.
I get that. I get that. But I don't. So he goes back after he cries or whatever, and he tells her the truth, which I appreciate. He said, and I appreciate it as a viewer, to be honest. So I'm gonna give him some points for that because as a viewer, I felt like I want people to say how they feel. Like if I'm not
Yeah.
attracted to you, I got to be honest about that, right?
It's just how you say it. And I don't think he did it in a bad way.
I don't think
So
he
I
did
think,
either.
yeah.
What makes it bad is that we saw how he gushed over her mother. So
Yeah.
when
He
she
like, damn,
watches
who that?
this back, when she watches this back, that's going to affect her.
Oh,
And
for
I'm
sure.
certain, it's affected her in her life. I'm certain she's always had to deal with herself, having a very good looking mother.
Mm-hmm.
And how that affects a young woman as they're growing up, and your friends and everybody's saying it and one, right?
Yeah. Because
So
it'll be girls and guys alike. It don't just be, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I think she's 1,000% going to be triggered by it. Like, you know what I mean? And that makes me worry. But he sits down with her, tells her, I don't find, I'm having a hard time finding the spark and the attraction. I thought he said it in a really nice way, to be honest.
Because
And
what he also said, which this is a real thing for certain people. So this was, not a somebody on Twitter called him bitchy Mitchy. I say I'ma steal that. It was and I say I'ma steal bitchy Mitchy. It wasn't a bitchy Mitchy moment. It
no,
was he said, even if I saw like, like somebody who was, like aesthetically beautiful to the rest of the world, like a Playboy model or whatever, for me, me not knowing her makes it even harder for me to be attracted to them because I'm much more of like the emotional connection, the emotional.
he lying.
Well, I thought that
He's
I
lying.
was like, okay, I get that because
He's lying.
some
I
people are
actually
that
have
way.
never met a man like that. He's lying. I've
I have.
actually never in my entire life, met a man who didn't meet a beautiful woman and wasn't smitten immediately by the fact that she was beautiful. You
I
get
don't.
like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't
You
think
might
that.
talk to her and learn that you don't like her. But I like, come on. Like, don't say it. You saw her mother and was gushing. Stop it.
Yeah, yeah, because I don't think that for Kristen it's like a moment when you see her. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he was.
She
So I think
gotta
he
get
was.
to know you
But that's what I
first.
was saying. I think he was trying to say like for you, for and I don't want it to
He was
sound
trying to be
bad, but
nice. He was trying to be
yeah, that's
nice.
what I mean. So I
Yeah.
get that because for certain people, you do need an emotion and more of a commercial. Like that's what I'm saying. I get that because I've
Okay, I see
I've
what you're
had an
saying.
attraction grow on me from somebody who I originally met and didn't really like was not attracted to them. So what
Yeah.
that's what I was trying to get at. Like
Right.
for her, it's you know what I'm saying. It's not like oh you're not like taken aback when you first see her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they don't, right. But then you get to know people and you like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
okay, I
yeah, yeah,
get it. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like they pull you in.
Yes.
So no, I get that. And I feel like she could be that way if he gets drunk enough. And then you see that
That
that's how they dealt with the rest of the night. But the way
yeah,
that
that
she
don't
tried
even
to
count.
convince him that he was attracted to her, really,
That was cringy.
I've
It's
n-
okay. It's okay. Like you don't gotta y'all, like I just
I
it's
just
okay. Like you don't have to you do not have to sell yourself. If a person tell you they not just be like, all right, like you know what I mean like we this is like the second or third person we're seeing on this show where they feel like now they gotta sell themselves, you know what I mean? Even to the audience. Like they'll say, well, they not attracted to me, but last night they did such and such, and it's just like so they was drunk. Like of course they did.
Of course they did. And the problem I have is that I don't have a forgiving spirit. Like I could really I had somebody say something. Not say they didn't say that they weren't. I used to date this guy, and he used to say, "Oh, I love black and Asian women." I remember him saying that and thinking, I'm about to dog this nigga out. That's really what I was thinking. And quite literally, it was more because, I mean, he was always up under me, always like around, always doing stuff for me. And I'm like, you basically my dude. And you would say something like this. And then it made me think, what I'm saying is, you gotta really listen to what people say because people will tell you their truth. You know what I mean? And it's like instead of you feeling like I was like, I'm not gonna fight you. I'm not gonna fight you on it. I'm just gonna keep doing me. And then you're gonna be butthurt when I go find somebody and move on and get married and live a life. And that was the trajectory of our relationship. It was constant him butthurt. But it's like you can't sit in people's face and say things like that. And then she'll never be able to unhear this moment. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. Like I'm getting at like you can't unhear that. And I applaud her for being so positive about it because I would have been on demon time. It would have been a
Yeah.
motherfucking wreck.
Yeah, she's
But
really
that's
been
the nature of this. That's the nature of this process.
yeah, she's really been taking a lot of stuff on the chin, and
Ooh,
I really feel bad for her,
she
because
giving Morgan friend. She almost got a chip tooth out this bitch.
yeah, yeah, for real. It's like she's really, and it seems like it's just more and more. Like every episode, it's like you took that, now let's see if you can take this. You know what I mean? It's
Yes.
like the Usher meme. Like every time we think Mitch like has got to his peak dickness, he's just like, watch this, watch this.
You
Like it's just like it's the meme.
Oh
Like
my
it's just
God.
ridiculous.
But then they ended up, so they both get saucy because, somebody tell you that they ain't attracted to you. What do? You get drunk. And they both get saucy. And what did Mitch call it? Social lubrication.
Oh, why he just would not stop with the lubrication.
Let me tell
I
you,
mean,
I
he said
loved
it.
it.
He said it like I mean, we was together.
I loved it.
We would have started a game like a shots game. Like every time Mitch say lubrication, we gotta take a shot. Like it was just
Social
ridiculous.
lubrication. To me, I'm
He
like,
was like,
that's
yeah,
spot
so
on because that's what it is.
it was lubricated. So I just things happen once I'm socially lubricated. Then I like it was just every 5 minutes.
And maybe that's what it take in the beginning. I don't know. You know
No,
what I mean?
no,
No?
because you don't go
I
through
don't know.
life's you don't go through life socially lubricated. So once you wake up, Mitch, you still will not find her attractive.
Mm. It's just really tough to watch, and it was just it was a good episode. I mean, I know I said earlier it wasn't that great of an episode, but now that I've unpacked it, I actually enjoyed the series. Now that I've unpacked it, I've really enjoyed it, and I don't care. Mitch is good TV. There, I said
And
it.
and to be honest, that's what I see. I see they had to put him on here for ratings. That's what they would have had to, because it's no way you can't get me to believe that they talked to this man for 5 minutes alone, let alone as many hours as when you're going through the process of getting cast on something like this. You talk to person after person after person,
Yeah.
interview after interview. One person could have talked to him for 20 minutes and been like, "Nope, it's not him." So
No, they was
I
like,
just
yes, it is him.
yeah, that's what they say. It's him.
That's exactly what they said. But when she said, if we don't have any um sex, she want sex bad. If we don't have any sex or any kind of, or you're not in love with me by decision day, like, we're done. And I kind of was like, girl, that's rough, ain't it?
I mean, not really. I think what I heard from it was, if we are still in the place that we're in by the time we get to decision day, it's nothing for me to even think
Okay.
about, which I get. Like, I can't be on decision day. I can't still be in a place that I was with you on day 5. You know what I mean?
Touche.
Like, we need to have been, even if we're not sexually active, we need to be intimate. And I think that, that's reasonable. You know what I mean? We talking about how many weeks is it to decision day? What is it? 8 weeks or something like that?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you
I think
still
you're
feel
right.
like, if you still feel this cold kind of shoulder from the person, that's reasonable to me.
All right, well, there you go. If you have not already, do us a favor, bust down, subscribe to this Mammy Tapping channel. Let us know how you feeling about this situation. They're all at this point failing to me, except for the Barnes.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I
they
think
are.
they're gonna do all right. They're gonna get there. They're gonna have some issues, but I think they're gonna be just fine.
They
But
be
the
all right
rest of
this year.
y'all, tomato, tomato, tomato. Okay,
Goddamn.
tomato. So buzz down, subscribe to this channel, and we'll see you beautiful mother jumpers later. Bye.